We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. Good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I am, of course, your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you very much for joining us today. As you can see over to the left, the big news is the Big 12 issued invitations, which will be accepted to BYU, UCF, Houston, and Cincinnati. So now the American steps up to the realignment wheel, and we can see what they go. Now, why that's important to the SEC is if you want Texas and Oklahoma in 2022, this is probably the path. If they're excited, if they are ready for all of this to happen, if they are just really jazzed, they have a chance to do that. You also have an exit fee with the American Conference that can be used to release those teams early if they release Texas and Oklahoma. So now we're at the point where ESPN needs to do its magic, but we'll need to see what the American does. My suggestion is Louisiana, La Tech, USM, and Marshall. That would be my three for the American Conference. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me bring this up real quick. All right, first of all, I want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. Basically, those guys do a fantastic job. The number is 1-800-330-7461. Again, that is 1-800-330-7461. And what I wanted to do here was to give you guys a resource on the ground in Florida. Everybody wants to go to Disney, to Universal, to the beaches, and everybody wants to come down here and vacation because, let's just be honest, that's what people do. These guys provide a resource for you to basically get up-to-the-minute updates on mask rules and things that can change very quickly that if you didn't know about could affect your vacation. So those guys can do that, and the best part is the parks pay them, not necessarily you, and you can get the same price as you could on the website. So give them a call, 1-800-330-7461, and they can help you out. See Central Florida like a local. Also, still time to call bookatailgate.com or look up bookatailgate.com and set up your tailgating for the Austin Peay game. Also, maybe set up for the whole season or pick a game on farther out. They have several different products. They have single game rentals you can do. They have plus size if you need more than one tent and everything. They set it up. They'll even store stuff if you own it. So look them up at bookatailgate.com and you will not regret it. These guys are Ole Miss vendor approved and are well worth it. Also, I want to tell you about the official watch of Positively Ole Miss, La Terrain. Promo code is POMcast. Just enter that code whenever you check out. Pick out a watch and, really enjoy it. So laterrain.com. That's la-terrain.com. Promo code POMcast. So I'm pretty excited about that. Also, if you want to watch the show moving forward, you can catch us at The Stephen Willis or at Ole Positively. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. You can see the spelling right there. We're also on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll know not just that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about, and that'll help you out. We like to use the YouTube for the notification system because they are the best, and I appreciate everybody doing that. So our subscriber numbers go up, and much slower number is the watches on YouTube, that's because they're watching it on Twitter, they're watching it on Facebook, or they're even catching a podcast, but they're using the notifications to let them know we're live. That's what's going on there. And also we're on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word. If podcast is more your thing, we're on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Audible. We're basically on everything that you want to use. If we're not, hit us up with a comment. If we're not there, we'll figure out how to get the POMcast put on that device or app as well. So just let me know. So if we're not there, let us know. As always, the chat is open. Whether or not you can see it or not, I can see it. You participate, have your say. And yesterday was a fantastic show. Lots of people tuning in for it, and lots of questions asked during the show. So thank you very much. And it's like 5.5 minutes. So that's a long way to go for all of our intros. So basically what I want to talk about today is the Austin Peay game and what to expect. Then I'm going to do the uniforms that we are wearing. We have those. And I am going to unveil the schedule of the weekend, which will only change Thursday night. Next week, Thursday night, will be the debut of our Talking Ball with Bill Flowers, where we talk about the previous game and break down the next game. He's one of the smartest interviews I've ever had, especially when it comes to football. He really knows his stuff. So listen to him, watch him, enjoy the show, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. That's going to be on Thursday nights. Thursday nights at about 6. So that'll be the one change from what I tell you in the second part of the show. So thank you again very much for joining us. Now, Austin Peay comes into Oxford. They're a good team now. They're a good FCS team. They are going, if you watch the preview Saturday morning with Joe DeLeon, Austin Peay is going to compete for the Ohio Valley Conference Championship. Now, they're not as good as Louisville. I mean, we should win the game handily. We have better players than them and more of them. I mean, but this is a good team. This is going to be a well-organized team coached by Scotty Walden, who I believe is the youngest coach in college football. He's like 30 or 31 years old. So congratulations to him. That's really sad that me graduating high school, he hadn't even started school yet at this point. Good for him. Absolutely good for him. I believe their quarterback also is from Olive Branch, and they went over Chattanooga. Had a nice day throwing the football. So it's a good team. This is going to be a good test. It'll be a different type test than what we had last week. Because last week we had the element of surprise. Now, nobody wants to talk about that, but in the game plan, we had the element of surprise. The book is starting to get written on this defense. And I am completely locked into the John Haycock 326 Iowa State defense and how they do things differently. If you watch that, there's several videos on YouTube. It's going to look different, and different people are going to be tackled because you're dictating actually to the offense that is running the play based off of numbers in the box and things like that. You're dictating what they're going to do. And because of that, you have different players in different positions that are designed to be funneled to. And I mean, it's really neat to work. And you've got the middle safety, which is considered the star or the nickelback. That is the position that Otis Reese finds himself lined up in. And that position, believe it or not, this is a real thing, is basically designed to protect that space between the linebackers and the free safeties, or the two safeties. And those loosey routes like Keon Butte against LSU, where he was open all over the game, and he went for 300-yard receiving, but that one route, it's supposed to handle and take away that route. That's really what it's about, is to find different space. It basically provides another zone for a player to run into, and if you're not running at that route, that route really becomes useless because where they were throwing the ball, there's going to be a defender this year. That route we got to pick against Louisville, Dontre Prince's pick was on that route. So, I mean, it's designed to protect against that in the passing game. It's an 8-man coverage, but also can be a 7-man box the way they cover the run. So the star, the Otis Reese position or whatever, could be back a little bit further back, but they're going to flow down and they have a responsibility in the run game. So it's really interesting, and I recommend everybody checking that out because, honestly, I was trying to figure out how the pendulum was going to swing back. Because last year and the year before that, we were in a hyper-offensive period of college football. Just hyper-offensive. To the point where you're like, well, the defense gave up 24 points. They had a great game. Well, how was that going to swing back? And I think this 3-2-6 might be the mechanism to attack these spread offenses and RPOs. Because remember, RPOs are basically run off the middle of the field. If you look at our RPOs against Louisville, it was all off of linebackers, a lot of second-level RPOs. Well, if there's only 3 or 4 people in the box, that's going to mess with the read and can affect the way it is going to. Because like I said, this defense is designed to dictate to the offense what they need to do. They're going to, if they're doing a box count, it's going to be a run play. The run play is designed to funnel to the outside. There's a couple of safeties sitting over there that can play close to the line of scrimmage or back in the middle to be a coverage / whatever, because they can get back to that zone. So it's interesting. It's designed to funnel to them, and you saw that a couple times. Like there's a tackle by Tysheem Johnson. One of his tackle for loss was a play that kept getting spilled to the outside, and eventually these guys just took it down. The defensive line is designed to. You remember Madden, what used to be, or college football? There was a pinch setting to where everybody just shoots in and clogs up the middle. And I used to love calling that pinch setting for whatever it's worth. But this defense is a pinch defense. They want to hit the tackles and drive them into the middle of the field. They're not really trying to make a play. And you have a big anchor sitting at nose guard. So they can't really push it around because it's pretty interesting the way they basically reconstructed defense. Because that's what they did. They reconstructed defense. And yeah, I'm just really excited about all of that going on defensively. I want to see Tysheem Johnson. I want to see some of the backups get some time on the field. I want to see Luke Altmaier. Everybody wants to see Luke Altmaier. I want to see Brandon Buckhalter, J.J. Henry, Braylon Brown if he's healthy. Tawan Malone, I want to see him out there. I want to see Jamon Gordon. Isaiah Aton played a little bit last week. I want to see in the defensive backfield besides Tysheem Johnson, I want to see Kendrick Breedloves and those guys. Get out there with an opportunity to make plays because we told you for months the goal of this defense was explosives and everything, but they want 22 starters, and we said they were at about 14 or 15 after fall camp. They're still trying to get players in the game to improve depth. This is an opportunity for some of those players to go on the field and make plays and get a look against Tulane next week because everything's about getting ready for Alabama in week 5. It's October 2nd. Everything is about that. Now, you don't want to slip up against Austin Peay. You don't want to slip up against Tulane. You want to take those as serious as possible. But it's a ramp, and you want to build to be where you want to be on that day. So I'm looking forward to seeing how some of the young guys come along in a game where the young guys are supposed to play. I want to see Matt Corral in a game that he's supposed to do hyper well. Is going to be short work. I want to see what it looks like. I think he's the best quarterback in college football. I think after week 1, most people think he's the best quarterback in college football. But I want to see what it looks like against a lesser than opponent. I want to see if he's as sharp as he's supposed to be. Obviously, no disaster games. We don't want any disaster games. And You want to run the ball a little better. I want to see Jerry and Ely get on track. I want to see Henry Parrish get on track. I want to see Snoop continue because he got on track early. And before everybody freaks out about that or where they were in the depth chart, it's just a feel. Jerry and Ely and Henry Parrish are similar type runners. They just are. So if you need a change of pace and that's not exactly working, go get the battering ram. That's the role that Snoop Connor has on this team. He's the battering ram. They're going to try to do it the way they do it because the offensive weaponry, Jerry and Ely has to be on the field. He is probably the top offensive weapon we have. But when he's on the field, the defense is probably keying on the offense differently than if Snoop Connor's on the field. That might not be the case after week 1, but that was the case going into week 1. So I'm interested to see. I want to see Jerry get on track. I want to see Henry get on track. I want to see some of the young guys playing receiver, and I do want to see Luke Altmaier in a real-life game situation. I want to see what he looks like. The defense, I want to see it continue, and all the stuff they do. Now, against Louisville, they were doing some stuff, but I imagine they were still fairly vanilla in their looks. I think there's some wrinkles that can be thrown in once October 2nd gets here that could be pretty interesting. 6 defensive backs on the field, 4 safeties, 2 linebackers. You're talking about athletic people. And I think Chance Campbell and Lakia Henry and Mark Robinson and those guys, Ashanti Seastrunk with 2.5 tackles for loss against Louisville. That was good to see. Everything about that was good to see. I'm just really excited about everything that's going on with this program. By the way, Lane Kiffin is promoting the hell out of this program right now. It's obvious that he is in a good place mentally with this team and what they can accomplish. They're trying to build momentum. You got the Katy Perry thing where she tweets at the team, Matt Corral for Heisman and all of that stuff. I mean, that's great. It probably feels a little staged, but it's exciting. It's exciting. And you got people like Kirk Herbstreit saying, don't fall behind this team or you're in trouble. And it's just really, really great stuff. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the uniforms for tomorrow. First time making an appearance since 2019. And we'll go over our schedule a little bit going into the game. Hope everybody enjoys it. Good. Stick around. All right, everybody, welcome back to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you very much for joining us. In the first segment, we talked a little bit about Austin Peay. We have a preview tomorrow morning if you are interested in that. Yeah, Tim nicely says Champ Campbell gave Big Ten speed and athleticism perception a little different feel, didn't he? I bet Maryland wish he had never left. Yeah, and he's a kid that grew up around Maryland. He's a local kid, so he wanted to take his chance to go out and be a grad assistant or a graduate transfer and see a little different part of the country. But that athleticism mixed with a Lakia Henry, with a Mark Robinson, with an Ashanti Seastrunk, really made a play. Austin Keys recovered a fumble. I think they played 6 or 7 guys at linebacker when he came in. But Chance Campbell, his headiness, his knowledge of what DJ Durkin wants, because remember, he was recruited by DJ Durkin at Maryland, comes at it really helps that defense out and allows them to the flexibility to do other things. So, for the game this week, Ole Miss is going with navy blue on gray with the helmet with the American flag logo that you're familiar with. They'll probably paint the field up in that way as well. It's a good look. I'm glad it's coming back. Last year, the gray pants were worn exactly one time. But it is probably my favorite Ole Miss look with the navy helmet. The navy gray, just absolutely fantastic. It's going to pop. It's going to be traditional, and it's going to look really good. I love the powder. I want to see the powder blue helmets with the red and the gray. We didn't see that last year. I want to see them. I want to see the powder blue helmets with numbers on the side with red and the gray, like Matt Luke used to do. What are some must-see or things to do for any Governors fans making the trip? Let's go Peay. All right, Governor Nation, thank you for watching. Well, obviously the Grove. Whether you tailgate in the Grove, you need to go visit the Grove because it's just a completely unique setting. Just tents just all crammed together. And because of that, it creates a community that is developed over time. Do that. If you get here early, try to go to Taylor Grocery. It's about 8 miles away from Oxford. It's the best catfish in the state of Mississippi, and it's the catfish is known for in the state of Mississippi. So that's a good look. There's also a wildlife preserve in Como, Mississippi, which is on the way to Memphis, about 35 minutes if you're early or late. So that's something you need to do. But like Handy Andy's Burgers is really good. I love Phillips Grocery. That was my favorite when I lived in Oxford. Hit the square and see what it looks like. It's one of the few places in the country where the square actually still exists and thrives. So that's the stuff outside of the game you need to do. But taking game day, hit the Grove, hit the place over by the pavilion. Go in the pavilion. It's gorgeous. There's a Raising Cane's in there and a Steak and Shake as well. And go and set the Letterman walkway into the stadium. They've really beautified that in a fantastic way. Yeah, so do that and have fun. Also, I do want to tell you about our schedule for this weekend. Tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, you can catch the Biscuits and SEC preview of Week 2. We talked for about an hour with Bossman Slim and the Hammer about all things SEC, all the games and what's going on in storylines with it. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., catch the Austin Peay preview. We have Joe DeLeon, who is an FCS writer for Believe Podcast, came on. He talked about Austin Peay and mentioned everything like they're a favorite for the Ohio Valley Conference, even though they maybe because they don't play Jacksonville State, but we'll see. We're expecting a good team tomorrow on the field. They're going to be a well-organized guys, Scotty Walden's guys. And on Sunday morning, Rebel Rewind will air, and the guest will be Bill Flowers. Now, we've got about 20 minutes. We talked about Louisville. We talked about moving forward, what we need to do, and we just kind of talked ball a little bit. All of these are available right now on Patreon. And so if you want to do the Patreon, you can watch those right now. So that's $3 for the month. And you can catch everything for the next month. So it's probably a pretty good move. But for everybody else that will appear then, next week we're going to do a show called Talking Ball with Bill Flowers. And he's going to talk about the previous game and he's going to talk about the next game. And we're going to talk about Ole Miss, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It'll be 10, 15, 20 minutes of just having fun and talking ball. And I'm looking forward to that. But I'm probably going to give you guys a few minutes back today. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, if you haven't went to bookatailgate.com, do that. They have several flexible options that can help you out, even down to helping you with your tailgate setup, down to the food. So they have stuff for all of that. They're an Ole Miss vendor approved tailgate. They've been around since 2006. I think that's 15 years at this point, if my McGee math is any indication. But check them out. Go to La Terrain Watches, promo code POMcast. And whenever you check out, and that'll help us out as well. And don't forget to go to Call Travel and Cruise World if you have a vacation coming like that. So we do appreciate those guys advertising with the show. I am going to get off shortly. My mom is flying down tomorrow. I get to see her for the first time since, heck, last Christmas. And before that, it was almost a year. So I'm excited about that. So she gets down tomorrow. We're going to talk about everything. And next week, the thing I'm really excited about, and this is going to set the next level bar for this channel, is I'm going to get my annual pass to Disney World. And I'm going to do things on this channel for Disney and help out Travel and Cruise World for you guys. And some stuff that maybe you didn't notice or know about at Disney. But we are going to get an annual pass, and we're going to start to do that. One of the reasons we moved down here to Central Florida is we wanted to be able to go to Epcot on a Wednesday and just eat at the Italian Pavilion and things like that. It's not necessarily the parks, but we just need it to get in because we're not going to pay $100 to go to the Italian Pavilion. But if we have an annual pass, once a week, we just go down there and go to the Italian Pavilion or the Canadian Steakhouse or whatever restaurant at Disney in the parks that we want to eat at. So that's one of the things we want to do and what we were planning on doing when we got down here. So now finally they're back to selling annual passes. We can do what we planned on doing. So we're excited about that. But tomorrow, my prediction for the game is Ole Miss 45, Austin Peay 14. I think Austin Peay will score 14. It's a game where I don't expect a Jacksonville State from 2010 to develop because this is a different Ole Miss team. But Austin Peay is a very good team. And their quarterback is from Mississippi, and he probably thinks he should have been recruited by Ole Miss. So I expect them to come in, guns a-blazing, and have a lot of fun. And Austin Peay fans, if you're coming down to the game and everything, have a great time. Travel safe and have fun, and be sure to talk to your neighbor. They'll invite you into your tailgate and do a good job. So it's a pretty exciting thing. But I'm going to give you a couple of minutes back. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And enjoy our weekend products. We'll be back on Monday morning, 10 Central, 11 Eastern, talking all about the Austin Peay game and starting to get ready for Tulane. But I'm Stephen Willis. This has been Positively Ole Miss. Hit our social sites up, subscribe, like, do all of that. Retweet and share. If you could do that for us, I would appreciate that as well. So retweet the show and share on Twitter and Facebook and those type sites, because that'll help us out as well. We don't have a place to send people to. We don't have a website. This is all a social media only based platform. So thank you very much for that. Enjoy the game, and of course, hotty toddy.